You should be good to go.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. It is 1:01 p.m. and we're live on a digital platform. Present we have from the Finance Committee, Randy Allison, Eric Biter, and myself, Liz Mealy. From the full body of City Council, we also have Bonnie Katz. And then from the administration, I have, Derek Slaughter, our mayor, as well as Tracy Rash, who's running our finance department currently. And Jamie, remind me of your last name. I apologize. Livermore. Okay. All right. And then Chris Black from IT, of course, Janice Frank from the city clerk's office, and it looks like Peg Woodring back there too. Okay. We have three items on today's agenda. Item number 1 is a resolution accepting a contract with Springbrook Solutions, Springbrook Software for online financial management services. Mayor Slaughter?
Sure, yes. What you have before you is resolution for Springbrook Software. This is part of the STAMP program through DCD. As I'm sure you all remember, we looked at a financial software and approved one previously. However, the build out on that was 18 plus months, which is just obviously too much of a time period there for us to get this software implemented. So we went back to DCED, worked with them on, I guess, sort of our 1A, which was Springbrook, was the other one that we were looking at simultaneously. DCED gave their approval. They were fine with Springbrook. And so that's what we're coming back to you now. It actually is a cheaper financial amount or cost to the city than the previous one, and still gives us all of the modules and financial software capabilities that we need. So like we said, Tracy's here. We've looked at this thoroughly as well. And the build out on this, I believe, is 5 to 6 months, Tracy. So it's we can get this implemented in the city much more quickly, which obviously is what we're looking to do, and what DCD would like to see happen as well. So we can get it in and move on to the next recommendation of our stamp.
Got it. Thanks, Derek. So I guess just to recap from previously, we had selected another software that I think we executed a resolution for, but the city did not move forward with the purchase, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And so this would be in lieu of that software, gentlemen. We didn't sign any agreements or anything like that, so that won't impact anything. Tracy, could you possibly go over for us any notable differences between this software and the other software, and or I guess why you think it will support our needs?
Okay, so originally the DCED grant that was applied for was $197,000 between implementation and first year fees for the accounting system. BS&A was at 190. Springbrook is at 83. And the biggest difference between the two contracts is that BS&A really sits beside you like 24/7 until you get the software operating like exactly like you want it. They walk you through that process, more hand holding, and that's really the biggest cost differential between the two. Now, I talked to DCED and they said, we still have the same grant we applied for. We still have the opportunity to use $197,000. So what we can do is use that gap of implementation fees to get any additional consultation that we need to get the software where we need it. So in other words, the base implementation fee is $50,721. But if it takes us more of their time, it is an hourly fee, but we have a gap of about $80,000 that we can use in additional implementation fees under the grant. Does what I said make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's making sense. In terms of the software package, BS&A has is gorgeous. I mean, as an accountant, I'm drooling when I'm looking at it. It has like, yeah, I don't know, all the bells and whistles. Springbrook has the bells and whistles, just not as many. And to be honest, we need an accounting package that'll work. And I don't think the city should wait another year to get all the bells and whistles. I don't even know that you'll end up using them. So this seems like a more cost-effective alternative and will do what you want. I also have used this software at multiple other municipal entities where I have been acting finance director, and there are good ways to use this software and bad ways to use this software. So what I really like you to do, is focus on like the top use of this software, everything electronic, everything viewable by everyone. So, you know, it's starting, this contract is for that $51,000 in implementation, but I think we'll end up investing more in the end to get it to that high end best use of this software. And again, under the grant, we have up to $130,000 to do that.
Got it, Tracy. Sorry, I just did something. Got it. And the annual fee for this is fixed at about $30,000 a year, correct?
Yes, it's $32,000 for the first year.
Okay. And then obviously it could go up from there.
Correct. And I anticipated that question and tried to get a hold of the sales rep to see, you know, what they usually do is an incremental increase. And I was not able to get a hold of him today, but I will try to have that question answered for you by Thursday.
Excellent. Next question for you. What was BSNA's annual fee?
$54,000.
Got it. So we're saving both short run and long run on this package.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, it certainly sounds like it'll be a dramatic improvement on what we currently have running. So that's a good start.
Correct. And I think it's going to take a little bit. I do want to say it's going to take some time. We say 5 or 6 months is their implementation time frame, but it's garbage in, garbage out. Okay. So we don't want to take what you currently have and just throw it into a new system. There needs to be some time taken to really set it up properly so that you go forward properly and not just use things that have developed over the last years. Yes.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. It's really easy to think that something will make a huge difference in your processes and the way that you do business. But if you don't take the time to really revise the way you do business, when you revise the management strategy, whatever it might be, then it doesn't change anything. So yeah, I would agree that it's exceptionally important. Remind me where we were taking our 30% of this cost from to begin with. Was it ARPA or was it?
It was not. We had talked about that at one point, but it is actually budgeted in the IT budget for the city. So in City Hall, operating within IT's budget.
Got it. And so we additionally also obviously have flexibility in that budget since we budgeted substantially more, correct? So if and when we do need further training or further help with implementation, that money is also there within the city's budget. As well as
and again, I did talk with DCD and they're happy to give us, you know, they have a budget for implementation and they're happy still to give us up to that budget, regardless of what software we went with.
Yeah, I guess my point is that but we still have to pay the 30% of whatever additional cost. Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
and we have that budget.
So we have that funding there.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. Randy and Eric, what questions do you have?
Eric, I'll let you go first.
Thanks, Randy. So is there any, I have a few. I'll start with the big one that I've been wondering. Is there any difference as far as integration is concerned between the two softwares and what were the other software solutions that we're using, like Paytime and things like that? So does this particular one not integrate? Does the other one integrate? So on?
No, the integration is the same. And as a matter of fact, at both of the other entities where I use Springbrook, payroll is outsourced as well.
Okay. The other question that I have, just as a general question, and this is one for the administration as a whole and you, Tracy, I'd really be curious to see at the council meeting, if you're able to prepare it, what we're looking at as far as budget is concerned for next year with software as a solution. Because IT's Chris Black has come to us over the past few meetings to have a few things approved. The police department has come to us to have something approved now with this payroll software. I'm worried that obviously these are necessary, but I'm worried that the cost is going to be a lot more than we're anticipating come budget time. So I'd just like to see what those numbers look like.
So what an annual IT budget looks like for these continuing software solutions?
Yes, please.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. That's all I have then, Randy, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of my questions got answered. That's very well. Oh, the compatibility that Liz mentioned with the two softwares, like specifics, it has annual product pricing for building permit, subscription, code and contact management subscription. I was wondering, like, let's take the codes department, for instance. Once this is implemented, can they access that information? Any information that they need?
Yeah, so they're actually going to be the ones using that solution, that part of the solution. They demoed the codes and building permit modules 2 or 3 weeks ago, and actually had a lot of questions for Springbrook in terms of pulling information over from the old system to the new system. But what it's going to cause there is those things to be much more streamlined rather than things collected there, transferred here, done here. It's all going to be packaged together.
Great, that's a great option. I did see Liz mentioned the increased costs rather. Under the bullet points on order terms, it says subscription service fees and recurring services will be subject to an automatic annual increase by not more than 7%. So that gives them, that's a pretty decent range, I think, from 0 to 7 or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So,
But it allows us to budget a standard 7% increase, I guess, right, Randy, and hope that they
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And I wanted to talk to them a little bit about what the history looks like. Has it been 7? You know, they say 7% and it's been 7% every year, or has it averaged out to 3 the last 10 years or whatever?
Yeah.
So I'll come with that information.
Okay, thank you. And the last 2 bullet points there, can you talk a little bit about the detail about those?
I'm sorry, where are you looking?
Oh, under order terms, it's probably, it's after, it's page 3 of 5.
Yep, I'm there.
Okay, the last 2 about civic pay online subscription increases and message block subscriptions. Could you speak to those 2?
I can't, but I will see if Springbrook can speak to those at the meeting on Thursday.
Okay, all right, that'll be great. Okay,
I'll see what I can find out.
okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, yeah, and I think I'm assuming some of this is boilerplate language, so possibly that's simply something that doesn't apply to us.
Possibly,
But clearly it would be good to understand all elements which do apply to us.
Well, I just saw that word subject to increase at per account rate. So
Okay.
there might be money there.
Right, and how many accounts we would have, et cetera, if we have any. Okay. Yeah, overall, this seems like a good alternative. I would agree. I can't speak for the rest of council, but I would agree that 18 months seemed like a very long implementation time for us, especially if we were looking to kind of overhaul the finance department in the short term. As I believe you mentioned, Tracy, teaching antiquated software, teaching a bunch of new employees in the finance department their way around an antiquated software that wasn't all that functional, only to then have to go through the implementation process of a new one seems unwise. So I guess the one last question I would have is, you said that it was likely that we might not have used some of the bells and whistles that BSNA had to, in the long run, that we wouldn't have put them to use. But are there any bells and whistles that aren't included in this package that we may someday want? And if so, is it something that we could add? Or is Springbrook just not capable of some of those things?
No, I just think that it's like the look of it and the feel of it is much more up to date in BSNA, and it's not an antiquated feel at all, but it's
no, I meant antiquated in terms of the system we're currently using.
I think it's just maybe a look thing with BSNA. All the modules are the same, the real-time data of it is the same, so it just might be a look thing that it feels, I don't know.
But as far as the actual technicality,
It's functioning the same way, right?
So from what we see right now, there's no, to answer your question,
Nothing would be missing.
no, there's no bells and whistles that BSNA had that we'd be missing out on with Springbrook. And DCD seemed in agreement with that as well, with their experience between the various financial softwares and municipalities that use them. Liz, you're muted if you're talking. I'm not sure if you're talking.
I'm sorry, guys, something on my phone froze up there. I apologize. I said, I guess, aside from looking for a couple of answers to questions on Thursday, Tracy, we should be, Randy, Eric, do you guys have anything else that you'd like to know about the product before we move on?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Okay. Then we'll look forward to a bit more of a discussion on Thursday, Tracy, but thanks for the answers that you've provided so far.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 2 on the agenda. We have a resolution for a Major League Baseball lease agreement. Derek?
Yep, what you have before you, this is actually just an update to last year's. So this is not the current year's is going to be coming in the very near future. But this one, the Crosscutters made 2 very minor changes to last year's that actually don't impact the city. And MLB just asked that we memorialize those 2 minor changes, even though it was last year's agreement. So that's why you have this before you. And the 2 changes, just to get them on record. One is under item number 5, transportation and circulation. Was added during the full access period. MLB and BAM will make 30 parking spaces available for use by the Crosscutters team and coaching staff and provide access as needed to those vehicles to depart during the game. So if, obviously if Crosscutters need access to anything, they're allowing that. And then the other was just a slight addition down lower under Article 4, where it says, and they added, except that MLB shall reimburse the Crosscutters for actual costs substantiated with supporting documentation incurred by Crosscutters for concessions that cannot reasonably be refunded or used by the Crosscutters for their regular season games. And so other than that, there's no changes. It was no change to anything on the city side. MLB just simply asked that we note those 2 changes to city council and that this year's contract or agreement will be coming to you all in the not too distant future. So that's really it. I don't have any additional information related to that, but those were the 2 changes, and Crosscutters MLB wanted us to just make council aware, which I obviously agree with.
Okay. Got it. And so I'm assuming there will be no further changes when the agreement comes for 2023?
Right, well, the only 2023, well, there'll be slight, so what it's looking like this year is, just to make it a little bit cleaner and neater, I guess, cross cutters will do their own separate one. So they'll be out of it then altogether, and then the city will have our own with MLB. So MLB cross cutters will have one, MLB city. So that way, so, we don't have to worry about any of these additions or anything. We'll each have our own separate one.
Got it.
But
And,
no, as far as any other additions here, no, I don't, there won't be anything else coming down.
okay. Randy and Eric, what questions do you have? Let me make that clear.
I don't have any.
Okay,
I don't have any either.
okay. I guess my only question is, Derek, explain to me again why this, I mean, presumably the cross cutters access to the parking happened or did not happen last August, correct?
Yeah, it already took place.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
Sorry.
not aware of any issues or anything. And so, but they just, as with
Okay.
any agreement, I think they wanted it in there just in the event, I don't know, some random person said, no, Mr. Crosscutter, you can't park here. They said, well, we're entitled to 30. So anyway, there was no,
But I guess what I'm
Please.
saying is they're executing another agreement for this year where they could have negotiated that as one of the.
onto this,
Okay.
to this one, but they
All right.
added it in the last year. I don't, again, I don't
Got it.
fully. they
Oh,
just
so
added
your
the brain
point
to
is they added
Calvin.
it in prior to
Right.
August last year. And now anyway, okay. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
it's a minor point. I'm just a little
Right.
confused about the
Yeah,
timing of
I was
it.
a little bit confused on it too, to be honest, but
Okay, got it. The only other thing that I would ask, and this is not related to this item in particular at all, but as a rule, when the administration brings agreements that have been only slightly modified, is there any chance that we could get them redlined or highlighted or something like that in the future?
I did.
Um,
I sent it to you, highlighted.
Oh, I'm sorry. The copy that I'm looking at in Dropbox is not
Oh.
highlighted.
Oh, apologies for that. Yeah, I did send a highlighted version.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I guess just,
So,
it seems
yeah.
like that's happened. It's
Yeah.
no big thing, like I said,
Right.
but especially when there are such minor changes.
Yes,
I
yes.
feel like that's happened
Yeah.
last, a handful of times.
Sure. But yes,
and
I
that's
can make
fine.
sure it's,
Okay.
yeah, I'll make sure and I'll tell the rest of the administration too, that if they send minor updates to highlight the change, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, it saves a lot of time for, kind of
Right.
looking over it and being like,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Okay.
Fully.
All right. That should be, that would be my only other concern here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then we should be seeing MLB's new agreement with the city here at some point relatively soon, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Got it. All right. Then if I hear no other questions about this item, guys, then I guess the last question is, does anybody have any related items to introduce? Okay, hearing nothing from out there. One thing I would ask is, Derek, I know the finance committee had reached out to you to say that we were okay to meet either last Tuesday or this coming Tuesday to kind of begin discussing end of year, 2024 budget stuff with you and Tracy. We didn't hear anything about last Tuesday. Is this coming Tuesday our date?
It should be. Tracy, actually, she's not here anymore, but let me double check. That should work. I'll double check and then confirm with you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Then we'll look forward to hearing from you about that here later on the day. All right. Nothing else from anybody else, right?
Nope.
Not I.
Janice will be delighted. We're under half an hour. Bye, Janice. All right, Janice. Okay. Thanks very much for attending, everyone, and I will see you on Thursday.
Okay, see you then.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.